We laid up under those quilts at her house when we would stay with her. We would stay with her every summer and visit them all the time. So I started painting those quilts as a painter with all that I've learned about like loving form and the formal nature of painting. But I'm painting the quilts because they're my grandmother's. And as I painted more of them and showed them to other people, what I discovered was that, hey, I know this, and this sounds crazy, your grandmother wasn't the only quilter. There was a whole quilt making tradition that touched this country, and many people knew it. And so many people could identify with those quilts. One of the things that were more particular to African American people was the patchwork quilts. They had this sort of offbeat way of being done. They were sort of improvisational. They remind me of her home. They remind me of being around there. Well, I was gonna make, paintings of quilts using her actual quilts and try to create a dialogue. And that's where these came from. That's one of her quilts. This piece is actually a double take on one quilt. Quilts are things that are like familiar objects. They're things that grandmothers make for grandchildren or mothers make for kids that pass family heirlooms. And in that kinship, there's a certain warmth, there's a certain sense of family. And then communion has to do with like abiding together. And that whole act of taking one, but making two was sort of important because we're talking about two things that have a relationship that sort of unifies them. Kinship and communion. My grandmother was never an artist, but she was an artist. And so now I get the opportunity to make art about her art.